Saturday Night Fever, baby. I'm JMO.
And I'm Hefe, and this is the Bench Squad.
So, we got a full slate of games on this lovely Saturday night. Just like every night we got some good basketball. So we'll just go ahead and do a quick little recap of what's popping tonight, and we'll get into it. First off, our hometown Trailblazers shitting on the Poopy Kings. They're not that poopy, but
they're not that poopy, but it does feel like that tonight.
It is. And CJ's going off in the third. He had 32 points. They're up by over 20 at this point, so looks like securing the dub there. It's always good to see.
Hey, put them above 500. That's pretty nice. Hometown
Absolutely.
Blazers.
Keep them playoff bound for sure. Next up, we got the Charlotte Hornets taking care of business against the Atlanta Hawks. Back-to-back dubs for the Hornets. LaMelo Ball, youngest player in NBA history to record a triple-double. He beat out – you know who he beat out?
Was it Luka?
I think it was Luka, because before it was Luka, it was Lonzo.
Oh, really? Hell yeah. That's dope.
That was not great.
And then, the Ball brothers played the other night. So, it's all coming full circle. Jello's getting a G League gig. Yeah.
Hey, good
Ball family doing well out here.
Just give the keys to LaMelo already. Let him take over the franchise.
Yeah.
He's must-watch television.
Don't start him just to start him, because I think Devontae and Terry are good. But, they got some juice. They're at 500 now, and I watched a good stretch of that game, and, dude, it was the LaMelo show.
Yeah,
hit a three, sure. Fucking made some dimes, He's
a good-ass rebounder. Good size.
He's definitely a good rebounder for, a guard. And, he's an exciting talent, and he'll be good.
I love that I picked him for Rookie of the Year. I'm sweating myself.
I picked him too, just because I didn't see anybody else that would kind of have opportunity / talent to,
and to have the ball in his hands that much.
Yeah, exactly. So.
Sure. So next up, we got the Suns and the Pacers. That was a good matchup. Both those teams are playing really well right now. Suns got the better hand, thanks in part to Mikal Bridges scoring 34 points, kind of out of the norm for him.
That's got to be his career high. I didn't check it. Don't fact check me on this, but 34, man, for a
role player,
4th, 5th option starter. Yeah, surprising, because I don't know. We'll get to it in a little bit, but scoring over 30 points is okay. You got some skill. Doesn't matter how many shots you get, how much opportunity. Scoring 30 points over that is impressive, and that's okay. It's okay. Is he turning into something for them? I don't know. I don't know. The Suns might have a lot more options than we think.
And on the flip side of that, Sabonis and the Pacers, he had 28 points and 22 rebounds.
Yeah, man, I've been keeping an eye on the Pacers, because they're right on the Sixers' tail in the Eastern Conference standings. Man, the trio of him, Brogdon, and Oladipo.
Yeah,
it's real, man. I think they can really make some noise, and as long as they kind of keep letting Sabonis cook and doing this thing. Man, when it 22 rebounds doesn't surprise me, because when I watch that guy fucking play, especially against the Sixers, he is just hard. It's just hard all the time, and he's always looking for rebounds offensively and defensively, and it's just fuck, that man is annoying.
If you're buying stocks on players, Sabonis is one of those ones. He does everything at a high level.
Yeah, and I know it's he's an all-star, and it's he's not underrated or something, but
he's not talked about.
No, but it's it's because his game ain't. It's modern. Flashy. It's a modern 4-5 kind of style, kind of like Timmy D a little. I don't know,
Well, pump the brakes there, big guy. All right.
Offensively, defensively, he's nothing what Tim Duncan could be at his peak.
Duncan,
offensively, I don't know. I don't think that's a bad comp.
No. I mean, he averages 7 assists a game or something crazy like that. That's better than Tim Duncan. So, but defensively, like you said, and then Tim Duncan also, first team All NBA in his rookie year. So. That's insane.
It's a little different. Different.
So next up, we got the Heat and the Wizards matched up. Wizards just desperately looking for dubs at this point, trying to climb out of the bottom of the East, and couldn't come up with one tonight. They were missing Bradley Beal, but they kept it close against the Eastern Conference champion Heat.
Yeah, and the Heat kind of looking maybe a little. We talked about it there's 2 months gap between end of the season when the Lakers were anointed champions and the start of the season. And that only really affected a few teams that were going deep in the playoffs. But Miami, you can see they're give us a month or two, you know.
I think that Spoelstra runs them hard too. I'm pretty sure that their practices and training camps are very, very intense.
But even, but even this time around, like, did they get much of a fucking training camp? Like, not really, you know. So, yeah.
For the Heat, though, shout out to Tyler Hero. I mean, he had 31 tonight. He's just steady, kind of getting a little bit better every game. It seems like, and
he's
some pretty real for them.
Seems untradeable for them. However crazy that seems.
Even for James Harden, it's insane.
I know, like, I know, I've talked about the James Harden rumors for my side as a Sixers fan, as you can see. But fucking, it's just funny for people like, well, hold on. It's like, what? It's Tyler Hero. Okay. Like, he's
James Harden.
It's James Harden. Like, it's great and everything.
He's an MVP.
Yeah. If that's if that's the one piece you have to give up significantly, like, come on, what are you doing?
Yeah, I agree. So next up, Spurs and the Timberwolves. Timberwolves, another team looking to finally get some dubs rolling. Couldn't quite squeeze this one out. They made it to overtime, but the Spurs went ahead and won another one. That's actually 3 straight for the Spurs. They beat the Clippers, the Lakers, and now the T-Wolves. So, you know, cooking up. DeMar DeRozan had 38. So.
Yeah, dude, I checked today. He's averaging like 8 assists almost. Like, he's not scoring as much, but I think he's just like he's the man there, and he's running the show, you know. And I think he's probably Greg's last hope of, like, all right, you're my last good player I'm ever going to coach. Just give me any reason to stay here.
Let's make the playoffs one last hurrah.
Man, like, talking about like that, man, I love Greg Popovich, but fuck, this last 2 years it feels like it's done a number on him. He's looking a little old, looking at his age.
Have you seen that picture that's going around where he is jumping and his hair's all, he got, you know, pretty far off the ground, a good, you know, almost
I did
a foot.
Not see that. Was that like a recent thing? Like, he was
like
was jumping around like, did he win, or was he pissed?
He was obviously he was pissed. He's never happy. Has he ever been happy ever? Even after the 5 championships, I don't think he even smiled.
He's like, he wins the championship, I'll see you in September.
Training camp. All right, we're running. But he was jumping like a good foot off the ground, and it was talking about his vert, but his hair's all wild and his mask is askew, and it's just like, he looks terrifying. I saw it because Ginobili actually tweeted a picture of it and was like, this is both hilarious and terrifying.
While we're on the Spurs real quick, did you see the Parker doc?
Tony Parker?
I didn't see it yet, but I saw that it was up on Netflix. It's like somebody retweeted it. I think it might have been Ginobili. I don't know. I could be tripping, but I think it was a former Spur. But it was like a whole Tony Parker doc. So I'm kind of looking forward to watching that.
Definitely going to check that out. I also wanted to real quick on the Spurs. They just always find these players that are just diamond in the roughs, like Keldon Johnson. Who the fuck is that guy?
Who is that?
He just killed us the other night. And he had like 6 threes or something like that. It's just unreal, these guys.
We came into this fucking season talking about on this podcast, like, they just had no juice, you know. It didn't feel like they had any, and they fucking are. They're gonna at the very least be in that play-in tournament, and they're gonna fucking make somebody work to get that 8 seed, 7 seed.
Of course they are. And then on the other side of that, LaMarcus is like 36, and he's still just hitting these post fadeaways, spot up threes. Just
it's probably not the same volume, but it's still there, you know.
He killed us. It was just really frustrating to watch, because it's like, this is always going to be how it is. LaMarcus is always just going to be hitting these shots no matter what. He's going to be 55 years old, and it's going to be 20-40.
Yeah, he could hit that fucking that bump and then turn shot. He could do that.
He jumps this far off the ground, like an inch off the ground.
Yeah, I know. He's literally never jumped.
But he shoots it up at the very peak of his apex, and unguardable.
It's kind of Dirk-esque of like, you're not blocking that.
Yeah. And then the last game that the second to last game that we'll talk about is the Mavericks and Magic played. Not a lot of storylines here. Tim Hardaway had over 30 again, back-to-back games for over 30 for him.
Yeah, looking like a legitimate piece next to Luka. I don't know. His contract screams trade bait, but, you know, maybe they actually want to keep him for the long haul. Who knows?
They need some scoring. Like, Luka's not shooting the ball very well. KP's out. They need that, and that's the only way they're winning games.
And like Luka's great and everything. And, you know, I talked about in the last pod that I love Luka, and I think he obviously is one of the special talents in the league, but only one man can do so much. And they need something else. And if Tim Hardaway's
he's like kind of struggling this year. His jump shot's bad. He's shooting really horribly from 3.
Yeah. You know? Well, I mean, like, I think it's starting to, you know, rear his ugly head about like the types of threes he takes, you know, because he's always dribbling. He's kind of always having to shoot off the dribble. And that's just like harder and not as efficient, you know? So it's like, who's getting him easy looks is kind of a thing. Cause like he
don't really have another playmaker.
I mean, like a secondary guy. Josh is, oh man, I rode that train last year of like he could do it, right? And then I don't know, you do 5 trips.
Jalen Brunson's pretty solid off the bench. We don't give him enough credit.
But I don't know if Jalen's doing stuff while Luka's on the floor. I don't know. I haven't watched enough.
It's usually like when Luka's off the court, it's like they need somebody to be the primary ball handler. So it's usually going to be him.
Luka, probably not having his MVP year, but I just
we'll see. It's still early. We're only 9 games in for them, so we'll see. Yeah. And then on the flip side of that, the Magic, they lost, but they're still playing well. And I just wanted to, shout out Vucevic. I feel like he's the best big in the league that nobody talks about. I mean, him and Sabonis, obviously, we already touched on Sabonis, but Vuce had 30 and 15.
Sabonis, like, you don't talk about Vucevic. I don't even think people know who the fuck that guy is.
Yeah, exactly. And he's good. He's legitimately very good. He's a 20 and 10 guy consistently for the last 5 years.
Yeah, and he is a modern big. He's got old man game of like post ups, nice touch around the rim, got good handful of moves, but then takes that running down, that fucking trailer 3 that no one wants to guard as a fucking 5. So he gets those all the time. So he's really good at that, and he's just solid. And he's also one of the best rebounders in the league. And he wants to, and if you rebound, that's the thing about rebounding, especially offensive rebounding, gets you free points, So,
yeah, exactly.
And that's what
so 30 and 15 for him, and that's just like a run of the mill type of game, honestly, at this point.
Yeah. Before we move on to, we did kind of skip over the Cat stuff. Cat's back.
Yeah.
Lost. Yeah. 2-7. Oh, man, feels like it's gonna be hard to dig themselves out of another hole. And Jesus Christ, you're looking for another lottery pick. Man, I don't know. At some point, somebody's got to play defense, and it's like out of D'Angelo, Anthony Edwards, Malik Beasley, and Cat.
Ricky Rubio.
Like who's
none of them
playing.
That's the thing with them is that their personnel doesn't make sense. I get you wanted to bring in D'Lo because he's Cat's buddy, and you want to keep Cat happy because he's your superstar. That makes sense. But then to pair him with another guard that's Malik Beasley, they play very similarly, and then Ricky Rubio, who's a ball dominant point guard. It's just like and they don't have very many good athletic wings. It's like a Kogi's all right, and it's like what's the game plan?
It feels kind of wild with how much they've been in the lottery and top picks they've gotten that they're still like not talent. Like there's not a lot of talent on that team. And now I'm wondering, like, if you watch James Wiseman on the Warriors, like, shouldn't you have just fucking drafted James Wiseman and then put him next to Cat? Like, why would that be a bad thing?
Like, if you watch James Wiseman play, do you not just think that guy could just be so talented in this league?
Yeah.
Like, why would he not go number 1?
And I get like, well, you don't want to like two bigs, from the Sixers perspective, it's like, yeah, you don't want to fucking put a bunch of people in the paint and try to make them work. Cause isn't it 1995? But like, I don't know, Cat's not necessarily a banging inside guy anyways. And like, then you would have and then you would have like fucking, what's his name? Fucking James Wiseman be your line of defense. I don't know. It feels like Anthony Edwards could be something, but like, I think you draft Anthony Edwards out of the hope that he's a franchise player. And to me, I don't think he is.
We'll see.
He wants to play football.
I know. He's honestly one of the funniest people I've ever listened to.
He's a great interview. He's funny as fuck. I like having him, but man, like I know the comment obviously drove everyone like, oh, is he like you? I just think that guy legitimately doesn't like, he's just like playing basketball because he's good at it. Like, and he
makes money for it.
Yeah. And he's just like, it's not, I mean, I don't know, maybe not Andrew Wiggins level, but like, I don't know. I just feel like you drafted him with the hopes that he could be that guy next to Cat, and like,
but if he doesn't want to be that guy, that's part of the whole equation is they got to have that desire, that deep desire to be great and to win. And it sounds like based on the way he talks and the way he interviews, it's just basketball is just kind of whatever for him,
Yeah. I mean, look at, let's just talk about that. Like the top 10 players in the league, every single one of them gives a shit more than basically everyone else, Yes, it's talent. Yes, it's physicals. Yes, it's whatever. But like, think about it. I mean, go down the line of the top 10 players. All those guys give a shit and put in so much work. And that's what it takes.
There's only one on the top 10 list that I feel like really doesn't. And I might just have some recency bias, but I don't know if you're going to think of the same guy, but for me, it's Anthony Davis. Bro, I just feel like he is just coasting right now. And
he won a chip.
He's
coasted. He's
win an MVP, dog. Be great. Want it.
I know. I was gonna say about like MVP. We're not gonna do the MVP talk today, but like AD is definitely. I feel like he's coasting more than LeBron.
Much more. LeBron's fucking going off, dude. He's trying.
Yeah.
LeBron is really trying.
I mean,
Schroeder's trying.
I've only watched a game or two of the Lakers, but from what I see, yeah, AD's like, I'll take my shots, I'll take my step backs, but I'm not banging inside,
No,
and
he's
then
not
and then
chasing
like
offensive rebounds.
yeah, and then statistically, like LeBron's just like outplaying him, and it's like what? LeBron's 37 or 36, or however the fuck old he is. Like,
I thought we were giving the keys to AD. I thought that was the whole thing.
I mean,
And
hey,
he's
that's
just
whatever.
chilling.
It's better for LeBron's legacy if he's just gonna fucking carry AD, I guess.
Honestly, if he wins an MVP this year, that would be.
We talked about it. They played intense playoff basketball 2 months ago, or a little, probably like 3 now. But like,
Anthony Davis is 26, 27 years old.
Yeah, like, and that was his first deep playoff run. Like, you just took a season off the year before with the Pelicans, waiting to get traded to LA.
And you had 2 months off during COVID before the bubble anyway. It's not. I mean, I get the bubble was hard, but my goodness, come on, bro.
Yeah,
you got me all pissed off talking about top 10 players. Everybody wants it. Not everybody.
AD, when he wants it, he wants it.
In
you
the
want to
playoffs, he'll be
chip with
fine.
the dog, but I totally hear your frustration. Totally.
I know. So last game we'll talk about is your game. The old 76ers, they suited up 8 good players today. 8 of them.
8. Did you see that video of them coming out of the tunnel?
I haven't seen it
Oh
yet.
my god, dude! You need to find that Twitter. That shit is gold. It's it's usually like 15 players. You're like, okay, yeah, and they're like, whatever. But it's like 7 of them, and they're like trying to like, yeah, like we're here. It's
like there's 2 guys like, yay.
They're like in the bit. They get what's going on. They get that it's fucking silly that they have to play with 7 players because yes, they have 8 players eligible, but Mike Scott was one of them and he's injured. And Doc was like, and no fucking way in hell am I playing Mike Scott. He's hurt.
A 34-year-old injured player.
Yeah, like I'm not fucking doing that. So we went out with 7 players. COVID hit us hard. Basically we'll start there with the COVID stuff of like Seth Curry got tested positive, but didn't know the results until the halftime of the was it the Wizards game? No, the Nets game, right?
So he's just sitting on the bench.
Yeah, he's sitting on the bench.
People.
Yeah, he's just dapping up, he's chilling, like whatever. He's just out with an ankle soreness. And then they're like, hey, yo, you got COVID. And you're like, oh, yo, I was dapping up everybody. They're like, geez. Well, everyone that's good. And then a couple people get held out because of protocols, but then Joel and Simmons have injuries. But that was the Sixers being like, fuck you. We're not playing our dudes in this game. At least the guys that matter,
Yeah. So shout out to Sixers though. I mean, you guys played the Nuggets, who are a good team, and kept it fairly close. I would say it was within 10 a lot of the game. And
I unfortunately did not get to watch the whole game in its entirety. I also didn't get to catch it live. Got to watch the Seahawks game. That was not good football. But I watched the first half a little bit later, and yeah, like when it's 7 dudes and a lot of them are young guys, it's it's Dwight and Danny Green, so it's some veteran, but like the other guys, they're just young and they're just like, fuck it, let's just play, and we're gonna want it, we're gonna try really hard. Yeah, and they kept themselves in it.
Tyrese Maxey had 39 points. Bro.
39. I think Tyrese in so we're in game 9 for the Sixers. In 9 games in the NBA
10.
has 10. In 10 games in the NBA, he has already surpassed Ben Simmons' career high in one game.
Mm-hmm. Well, Ben Simmons' career has like 34, I think.
It's like 38, I think, or 36 or something. But it's hilarious. I don't know. That Tyrese, well, I mean, he did take 33 shots, but like I said earlier, scoring over 30 is scoring over 30. Doesn't matter how many opportunities you get, how many shots you get. Like getting that many points is showing that you have that ability, which is
without a doubt.
So I thought that was
Ben
really
Simmons'
cool.
career high, it is 34. Just checked it out there.
34?
So,
okay.
34.
Damn, I thought it was 36 against like the Heat or something, but 34
was it
what was against the Heat?
It was against the Cavs, and they
were,
They were the 5 and 17 Cavs at that time.
Yes. Oh, I remember that. They were bad. And we ran up on him, and he just like got every fast break layup he could get. Yeah. So Tyrese, big ballin'. I love it. He's got good pull-ups. He's got a great feel for the game. I knew this right out of college, like watching him out of Kentucky. He's got a great feel for the game. When you give him this opportunity and give him the ball as much as he had it against Denver, like, yeah, he show you what he can do. I love it. I'm not saying he reminds me of any way. I just love he took a floater from like well past the free throw line, and I was like, hey, that's my game, baby. I love that. Fucking chuck
Don't
that
matter
thing.
where. Floaters from 3, baby.
Yeah, I know. You saw me towards the end of our playing days. I was working on it. I was trying to incorporate it. A little post hook from 3.
So silly. So silly.
Yeah, so I love that. His floater game strong. And dude, he is just elite at getting to the rim. And I mean like elite as in like just this ready to get to the rim already as like a 2019. I think he's only 19 or something. It's wildly impressive. And I fucking love the dude. Isaiah Joe, another draft pick, second rounder, looked pretty decent. Hit some shots like we needed him to. Dakota Mathias might be one of the worst Sixers of the Simmons and Embiid era. And Dwight Howard is being Dwight Howard and pissing off Jokic. So, fun time.
That's good stuff. But now we're seeing the ramifications of playing in a pandemic. We're really starting to see this kind of unfold where guys are missing games left and right. Sixers whole team is basically out for a while. We've seen it with the Rockets. A lot of their team has been out. Jason Tatum, who's having a hell of a season for the Celtics so far, has to quarantine for 10 to 14 days starting now, just based on protocols. So we're seeing it kind of all over the place with stars and with whole teams, and it's honestly becoming a problem.
It's becoming a problem, and that's the thing about with how COVID works. It's you usually are not isolated. So if one person gets it, it usually means like 4 or 5 other people should kind of have it or exposed to it, and then therefore need a quarantine. And it's interesting to see. Okay, we're obviously early in the season, and I think for the most part they've gotten off being okay, with some teams maybe missing a game or maybe some teams missing some players.
No, but we're 10 games in and it's been competitive. It's been good.
Yeah, but now we're starting to see, okay, now it's starting to creep up on a lot of teams and a lot of significant players. And I don't know. I think about this in comparison to the NFL and how the NFL carried out their season. If you paid attention at all, basically they just said, fuck it, we're going to keep playing. Doesn't matter. Basically, if you have the roster to field the team, you are going to play, and doesn't matter if it's your fucking practice squad. But that's the thing about the NFL that's different is they have 52-man rosters and also have practice squads and backup as well.
They have a third string, for every position.
For every position, and they have more malleability when it comes to losses like that, and especially unexpected ones, and less games to play, obviously, and less travel. But the NBA, it's going to be a lot harder for them to try to kind of take that approach, which I don't think they should, because that would be shitty for them. I think they've been kind of one of the better leagues, especially with the bubble and how that went, of being good about this sort of thing. And now we're seeing this might be a little untenable, and I don't know, some wins are a brewing that doesn't give me good vibes.
Yeah, then we might have to shut down the league for a little bit, 2-week, maybe 3-week shutdown, wait until everybody can get vaccinated, even maybe if we can afford that or make that happen. I don't know.
And that sucks because I don't think either of us are here trying to preach that vaccinations for NBA players is a priority, because it's not.
As a mandatory type thing. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's not a priority. But I don't know, at what point do playing G League players,
does it hurt the brand? Is it bad for bad for the league?
Because I don't know, just at some point this is gonna give, and it's not it isn't gonna just hit one person on a team. It ain't gonna just be like that. It's gonna hit teams, and when you have to start canceling multiple teams games and half of the rosters out, like what it was like for the Sixers, that's not gonna get any better in the next couple of days.
If they have to be out for 10 to 14 days, it's that's like 5 or 6 games, 7 games that you have to miss as a team. And then what? The whole schedule's fucked.
And then how do we judge all this stuff? How do we analyze teams and where they're at in their standings? For the Sixers, if this doesn't get any better and this is kind of what it has to look like for the next week and a half, we're supposed to be playing the Heat 2 times in a week. And then I think the Celtics after that, who are obviously without Tatum, but I don't know, man. At what point does the product on the floor so damaged and so altered by this that you kind of wonder if this is even the right thing to do? I know we've talked about it. They want to chug along. They want to try to get through just like any other league and try to, salvage next year. They want next year to be a legitimate year where fans are in the building, they make their money, yada fucking yada. But I don't know. I don't know. They have some things to figure out. We talked about they put out first half of the schedule, and they're still waiting on the second half. But how much does this get altered? Does everyone make it to 72 games? I don't know.
I don't know. The to be determined. We'll see. We'll see how it unfolds. There's just no predicting. Just like with everything in this pandemic, there's just no way to predict what's going to happen. So another part of COVID that we wanted to talk about too was playing without fans and what that's been like so far in these first 10 games. I mean, obviously, one of the big things is there's no home court advantage at all because there's no momentum swings in that way.
There's maybe the only home court is the fact that the other team has to travel to you, but that's.
But then you sleep in your nice, expensive hotel bed, and you wake up and you go to your shoot around just the same as the other team does.
Yeah, so that doesn't feel that big
No.
a deal. I mean, unless it's like a back-to-back, but then back-to-backs are back-to-backs for a reason, not because of travel. But yeah.
Yeah. The other part is that I've seen a lot of players that they'll go on these hot streaks that don't seem to end as quickly as they normally would, where they'll shoot, they'll hit. Like I know the other night, for example, Wesley Matthews went 6 for 6 from three. He's never gone without missing a three in an entire game before. And it's just hard not to say that isn't because there aren't fans there. You can feel that even if you're at home or away. If you're at home and you've hit 4 threes in a row, on that fifth one, the crowd's like, let's go, let's go, let's go.
You can like feel there, like, I love telling the story when we went to LA to watch Sixers Lakers at Staples Center, just the Lonzo, like
every open three, the whole crowd's like, please.
Fucking feel it. Everyone just begging for it. Like, please hit it. Same thing with Steph and fucking Golden State, where that whole arena is on their fucking toes, just like, is he gonna hit another one? And then there's a huge audible like, oh, when he misses, so it's like that whole element. It feels, similar to the bubble, this play style of no fans in the fucking stadium. It feels like the bubble where it's probably closer to shooting in an open gym than it is a stadium with thousands and thousands of fans.
There's like 20, 25 people hanging up in the stadium and stuff like that. But that
ain't distracting. They're just some media folk watching the game, writing about it. They ain't fucking making noise.
Exactly. They're like, yay, weird. Good job.
I mean, I bet they golf clap, but they ain't fucking going, woo! Because I guarantee you in an empty stadium, that shit carries. So if you make any sort of noise, it's like, what in the fuck's that guy doing?
The other thing I've noticed is, the lack of reactions and like enthusiasm. So like if you hit a big shot or like a, game tying in the fourth quarter or a go ahead bucket or something like that, a lot of times, you would at home, you'd turn around and be like, yeah, this is my fucking shit. This is my home. Yeah. But now they make it and they walk over to the bench and then they game plan for the next possession.
The bench hype is a thing to monitor for sure. And it's like what benches are like getting up and fucking being rowdy. And because that's the only energy you're going to get is just seeing your bench go nuts, for you. That's it. And it's funny you talked about like hitting a big shot or doing something big and you're like, turn to the crowd like, fuck yes, me. Like Joel, the other night, he had this big and one. And he like stumbled his way to half court, and that would be the moment where he's like, come on, fuck yes, my city type, that whole thing. It just without that sucks because he didn't do it. He's like, who's he fucking get?
Who am I doing this for?
And then he just turns around and goes back to the free throw line, and it's like, that's
my example is. I watched the Nuggets Mavericks game the other night, and Nuggets were down 2 in the last like 7 seconds, and they ran this set for Jokic, and he hits this fadeaway jump shot like he does from like 20 feet out, swishes it, and they're tied with like 0.8 seconds to go. He didn't even smile, he didn't even high five, he just like literally made it, and they called timeout, and he just walked over to the bench, didn't react at all. It was just almost like you wouldn't even know that was a game-tying bucket in the fourth quarter if you didn't.
That reminds me of that one play you remember last year where it was like, was anyone playing? Like, was there a whistle that I missed? Why was no one reacting at all? Why was like 9 players sitting still? I know it feels weird. That feels very Jokic and very maybe non-related to that, but still, it sucks. And with the shooter thing, I think that's real. You're seeing some people shooting some stupid numbers. Have you seen like Joe Harris's numbers? He's shooting over 50%, and he's played, I think, every game. Like, what the fuck? Yeah, and he shoots a lot. Like he don't fuck, like, most of his shots are from 3. So like he's shooting over 51. Yeah, I think we talked about it. I don't know if on this pod or off pod or not, but like think about shooting a basket, right? And there's nothing behind you. It's whatever. But when there's like 10,000 people waving bunch of shit and just, nonsense, and it's just all this other stuff going on behind there. Like, you just can't tell me there's like a non-zero effect,
No, and you hear people courtside jabbering at you, and you go to pull up and somebody sitting like 6 feet away from you is like, you suck, fuck you, you're gonna miss, boo. Like, that you hear that you're a human being, you know, and you're there. You
Yeah,
might
and
not,
like,
it might not sway you very much, but it is there. It's a very
well,
much a
it's not going to
factor.
sway the players of high caliber, but like rookies, young guys, maybe like, and you
Yes.
said like that pressure of the moment when you need to hit a big shot, that element just feels not as
It's missing.
tangible as it. Yeah, it just feels not the
Yeah.
same. It sucks.
The
You
last
know,
part about the whole thing with, like, you know, no fans there is that everybody, it's like 500 across the board in the East and the West. There's no, like, no team is extremely superior, no team is extremely inferior. Even the 2-8 Wizards and the 2-7 Timberwolves, it's like they're not playing well, but
yeah. I
you
mean,
know,
you
they're not
see,
they're not
we're
horrible.
only 10 games in, so that could change, but it is, you know, it just seems weird. It seems weird that there is no separation. It just doesn't feel like we know, okay, like definitive top threes in each conference, maybe off of past and on paper stuff, but like, we got to see what the team can actually do, not theoretically what they can do,
Hmm.
and with this COVID stuff, no fans, I don't know, the legitimacy and how we view these things, and as a selfish perspective, like, damn, how do we value what's going on here? It's hard. It's
Yeah,
hard.
and I know I always end up talking about the Lakers. You always end up talking about the Sixers, but with if the Lakers were to go back to back this year and LeBron were to be Finals MVP, I just know people are going to try and put asterisks on that. He played the 2 years in the pandemic and won both those championships, and
Yeah.
it's like, does that hurt his legacy? Does it help it? Is it a just a
Because
zero sum because on
so
both
he's
sides?
at 4 right now, right?
Hmm.
And so winning a fifth one, I don't know. I mean, it comes in consideration. I think I obviously, I think we both talked about it. I don't think the bubble was an asterisk. I think it's a footnote, kind of like something
It was there.
it was there. You have to know, but like, I don't know. It's hard. It's hard because when you talk to anybody that would say played in the NBA and talked about that journey of going into championship, they talked about that bubble being extremely
Harder.
difficult and like, yeah, harder in a lot of different ways because of how mentally like exhausting it was. And
To
I don't
not
know.
see
I
your
just like,
family, to be stuck in the
yeah.
same hotel,
And
you
do
know.
you knock LeBron for being mentally stronger than everyone?
Oh,
Yeah, yeah,
that's a positive thing.
yeah.
That's the thing,
So,
is
but
that everybody's in the exact same boat. We're literally all in this exact same situation. And
yeah,
yes, your team might get COVID and you go on a 0-10 stretch because everybody's out, and that didn't happen to the other team. You know,
yeah.
that's just the dice that you roll with this whole playing in a pandemic thing.
Well, and we hope come playoff time, a lot of this stuff could be figured out a little bit more, less travel because it's less teams. You're
Hmm.
hoping less exposure. I don't know. Maybe they explore some type of, I don't want to say bubble option, but maybe like limit a small circle of where they go instead of like, let's say the Blazers make the playoffs and then they're like, they have to fucking play the Thunder, whatever. Just I'm talking about distance. Like, do you really want them flying back? And I don't know. I don't know
I
how
don't
all
know.
this shit works. It feels like it's not super set right now, and it feels like the NBA is creeping a little too close to NFL territory, and I don't like that. And I just don't think they're the same leagues. I don't think they work on the same planes. So how the NBA adjusts this coming upcoming weeks, because I always said it's getting real. The winds are brewing of what do we do here, and it's something to look out to.
Big decisions to make coming up. We'll get off the COVID topic. We'll move back onto a little bit more. While we do still have basketball to talk about, excuse me, we will continue just for a little bit more here. Last night, the Clippers and Warriors played the second time they played each other. The first round, Clippers got the better of them. Last night, we saw that version of Steph Curry that we've seen back in 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, that we've seen a lot. And it was, oh boy, is it special. Me and Hefe, we've always been Steph stans, and man, it was just really exciting to see that when he turns it on like that, when he's playing like that, they're still one of the most
It's
unbeatable
one of
teams
those
in the
things,
league.
man. I feel like I'm a broken record on this. I don't know if I've kind of made this spiel over and over on this pod or not, but I spout it to every basketball fan that wants to listen to me. If you don't get it, you're obviously just not watching. Like you're just looking at stats or something. You're just not like actually watching the games. Because if you watch that stretch, which I was only able to catch that stretch of the game, or like I watched that stretch of the game where they're down by like 20 points, whatever it is. They're down by like 20, and it's all Steph, man. It is all Steph. He hits a three off the dribble. Okay. Then gets one steal, gets his buddy an easy layup and one. Okay. And then they go down, get another stop because the Clippers just shoot a jumper and, settle. And then
they miss, yeah.
And then he creates another three. And it's just like everything about that run last night was all him. Maybe a little sprinkle of Draymond, maybe a little Kent Bazemore defense, whatever. But offensively and pinches on defense, all Steph, man. All Steph. And I just, if you don't think he is one of the most special basketball players ever, you're just not watching. And if you are, then I feel sad. Then I feel big sad for you.
There's exactly 0 players that are just like him. He's one of the most unique players of all time. And if you watch, it's not just that he's, he hits all the threes that he takes and he shoots it off the dribble and all that. It's just, I know everybody blows this up and they use the word gravity so much, but it is real. He has somebody glued to his side and they run a screen and roll up at the top of the key. The defender on the big, he cannot possibly play back. He has to get all the way up. They have to trap. Yeah. He has to run him off this 3-point line. And then that just opens up the entire court. That's why they run that little slip to Draymond, cutting down the middle. And Draymond's such a good passer; they have so many options out of that. Yeah. So that's what makes a difference.
In that one play, I feel like you have to know what play I'm talking about. The one where it's the picture where it's like 5 of them are all looking at him. They're all looking at him, and he's dribbling on his left side, and then he just fucking hucks it with his left hand, offhand, fucking chucks it across court. Perfect dime for Damian Lee and fucking Schwab. Is it Damian Lee?
And he swaps it. It was Damian Lee, yeah.
Yeah. And it just like shit like that, man. Talking about gravity and somebody that knows how to kind of harness that gravity and expose teams for playing him the way they do. Because it's not only in pick and rolls that the big has to come up, like it has to, or else he's going to get an easy 3 off that pick. It's off dribble penetration. It's off of him doing anything.
It's those off ball, those pin down screens. It's like you have to chase him and you have to hedge. And
I think about it, okay, we're not NBA basketball players. I'm not trying to do that, but I'm saying like, I just think about as a basketball player thinking about guarding Steph or someone like him. And it makes you kind of stupid. And sometimes it's like, why is Steph getting these easy layups? And it's because of that. It's because of he's making you think so much that then all of a sudden he's just like, oh, you just got that so easily. Why was that so easy?
He put Paul George on an island last night down the stretch, and he gave him a little bit of this, a little bit of that.
I love his movement. I feel like the James Harden, Luka type stuff movement is becoming kind of norm, and it bores me a little. But Steph's movement and the way he dribbles and the way he just like the balance stuff, it's kind of Kyrie's kind of comparable in that way. It's so fun, and that's why he's the superstar that he is, and why thousands and thousands of kids love him, because it's like, look at him. You could be that guy too if if you were that special and you had that sort of
6'3", 190 pounds. Like that's not. I'm 6'4", 195 pounds. It's not like that's a crazy different body frame or anything like that. No. He's just so unbelievably special, and I'm so happy that he's back and playing this way again. And the Warriors are 5-4. They've had a couple bad games, but when Steph's playing like that.
I think Draymond's back, and I think they've won basically every game with him. I think they're definitely like 5-1 since he's been back.
When Steph scores over 30, they are 5-0. When he doesn't score 30, they're 0-4. So the numbers don't lie.
It's shitty that it kind of has to be that way, but it does. But if Steph just continues to do it, man.
Well, it's just because Clay's not there too. So
for sure. And Kelly's not doing so hot, and Andrew Wiggins is not going to step up, and then they have not a lot of talent outside of that. So I don't know. I love Steph. If you don't like Steph and you don't think he's special, then fuck you.
You don't like NBA basketball.
If you don't like that, you don't like NBA basketball. Yeah.
On the flip side of that game, the Clippers, man, talk about a soap opera of an NBA franchise. Like some games, it's like, holy shit, this is the most elite team in basketball. They are unbelievable. And then other games, they face the teeniest bit of adversity and they just fold like a fucking lawn chair.
Okay, so I'll let you start as a unbiased,
I'd love to.
unbiased person. What is it, man? What is it?
It's adversity. They don't have a leader. Paul George and Kawhi are their 2 best players. Kawhi does not talk, and when Paul George talks, you want to punch him in the face.
Yeah.
So if you don't have a leader, then your other vocal leaders like Patrick Beverley, who can't back it up on the court. Lou Williams is 35 years old and disappears most games. And then they brought in a cast of new guys like Luke Kennard and Nick Batum, Serge Ibaka. None of these guys are really like a leader. You look to your best players typically down the stretch to like be that rock, that leadership that you need, and they're not that. Paul George especially he just lacks that. I don't know what it is, but you either got it or you don't. Like Steph has it, Dame has it, LeBron has it.
Well, and it's not leadership is weird because it's really, I mean, okay, like you said, Pat Bev, he could be a leader all he wants, but like at the end of the day, he's Pat Bev and he's not fucking doing anything special on the court. He's not backing it up with skill, but it's not really skill related because, Paul George obviously is one of the most talented players in the league and he can, when he's right, he's an elite player. But like you said, when he talks, you kind of want to punch him in the face and you're like, Paul, what the fuck are you talking about? And like all those reports coming back from last year and stuff, and like Montrez kind of bagging, like, dude, it's like, yeah, Kawhi's not going to say anything. So we just kind of have to figure it out. But then Paul George, you're like, I don't want to listen to you. You're the guy that's fucking making your own practice times. You're not showing up to shit. It's like, yeah, like I don't know. It's you like being a leader. You either have it or you don't. And I don't feel like that Clippers teams has it. And it's just interesting, man.
You look at Kawhi's other championship teams, the 2 times where he's a Finals MVP, the best player on those teams. In San Antonio, he's not the leader. It's Popovich, it's Tim Duncan, it's Tony Parker, it's the whole thing.
Yeah,
and then in Toronto, he's not the leader there either. It's Kyle Lowry. He's been there for 12 years, and he's vocal, and he is a veteran, and he's an all-star. That's enough. They don't have that. They just don't have that in LA.
Because this is his team, right? This is the team they constructed around him. And last year they had a little bit of juice of the year before when they were the underdog without Kawhi and PG, and they were the underdog, kind of giving the Warriors a run,
They also had Shea and Gallo, though, who were 20 point per game scorers.
Yeah, but I was saying, like, they had the Lou Montrez kind of vibes. They had Doc, they had some sort of backbone of like something that was working. But, you see how that imploded in the bubble, and that could be related to bubble reasons. But now you're seeing it this year that they are one of the best teams in the West record-wise so far. But this loss and then with the 50-point fucking bomb on their head, like, man, weird juju. And, like, they can fucking look good all they want, and they could beat the Lakers day one like they did all they want.
Last year,
No, this year when they, they
I know, but they did it last year too. So
yeah, they could do that all they want, but I just, man, when it comes to, like you said, when adversity hits, it doesn't seem like they respond. And I love the point you made about the Kawhi thing because, this time around, it's his team, and if it was someone else next to him, not talent wise, but someone else that could kind of command that respect, then it would make sense. But Paul George, dude. No one wants to listen to that guy. He's kind of made a fool of himself for years now of like, why say that? Why say that Dame's shot that you hit on your head from 50 feet is a bad shot? Like why?
He had to shoot something. Like there's not what's a good shot right there?
Like, what's your,
it's a game winner, not a good shot.
I don't know, man. He's weird champ. Like what the fuck? Like, and I just, it's not surprising. And they could win it all, and we could be fucking wrong, and we can eat some crow. But man, I don't have good vibes. And
if they win it all, I will give you $500. Right here.
Okay, sounds good. I'll take that $500. I doubt it, just because I think they are flawed size wise. So I don't buy it because like I don't think they're gonna beat the Nuggets, the fucking Lakers, all of it. They're not gonna be able to battle with those teams. That's not the point. I just think weird juju. I don't know what the fuck they do. I don't know what kind of ideal situation for Kawhi is moving forward. We could be blowing this out of proportion and it could be all that bad, but I don't know, bad juju. And they're a content machine and we love it. We eat it up. We eat it up.
At this point, there's just no way to say it's not a thing because they just haven't been consistent at all. Last year, they ended up as the 2 seed, which was really solid, which was really good. But, we saw it throughout the regular season. There were games where their chemistry looked horrible. They looked like they just they didn't want to play anymore. They just shut it down and called it a day. And, come to find out there was some rift between Doc and the players and then Montrez and Paul George and all that stuff. Now this year it's Ty Lue's team and they got a new cast of players. Still the same kind of things we're seeing in the first 10 games here.
Yeah,
so
I just feel this Warriors loss and that Mavericks loss just feels weird. And you can COVID, but you can make whatever excuse you want, but it feels weird.
It's just off for sure. Last talking point of the night. I feel so sad in my heart for my boy Bradley Beal. This man is averaging 35 points per game. 35 in the first 10 games, leading the league in scoring, and the Wizards are 2-8, bottom of the whole league, worst record in the entire league, and it's sad. It's just really sad. He came out last night after their loss and said, "As of right now, we could not guard a parked car."
That's an all-timer. That's a good one.
And is he not wrong? Like, they're just horrible defensively.
We played them. The Sixers played them the other night, and yeah, we fucking scored 140 on them. And Bradley Beal was the only reason they stayed in that whole entire game.
60.
And he had 60. Fucking God. Sometimes, like, I don't want to do my Sixers rant. I don't want to do that. But sometimes when an opposing player is just fucking shitting on you, like, who wants to take some self-responsibility of like, all right, that's enough. Like, enough of that. But I don't know. Bradley's so good that, like, there's nothing, like, he just makes everything look easy. He is a 3-level scorer and he can do everything on the floor. I feel bad, but I might play devil's advocate here and be like, okay, so when you score 40 or more, you lose, you're 0-8 or whatever that stat was. 0-8? I mean, your team could be bad and everything, but like, at what fucking point is it like, maybe, you know, if it smells like shit everywhere you go, like, when do you check your shoes? Like,
you think it's him though? I just don't see any way that him scoring 40 is a bad thing. I just cannot fathom that. And I get some players, it is a bad thing. But with him, it's a team thing. They don't have a rim protector. They don't have wing defenders. They have no depth. They just don't have a good roster. No, they just aren't good.
So I'm just, like I said, I was trying to play devil's advocate. And the Wizards are bad. The Wizards are bad, and they don't have a lot of talent. But from my point of view of watching him the other night when he scored 60, he is so fucking special and such a good talent, and he functions individually so well. It makes you wonder, like, why the fuck is no one else kind of like getting on board here? But it's because of, like, the way he plays it. It's I don't know. I don't want to say it's like Harden where it's like he's just ball hogging, but like, it's not like he's really creating a lot for others. He's just so goddamn good for creating for himself. And that shouldn't be a knock. It's not really, but I don't know. My point, I guess the whole entire point I'm trying to make about Bradley Beal, if you're going to trade for him, he better be your second guy or third guy. But if you're trying to trade him as your franchise player, you already kind of see what that looks like. So if you are trading for them, I don't know who it is, he's your second fiddle. That's exactly where he needs to be. And that's exactly what, you should be looking for. And yeah, I don't know what
I guess. Could you imagine him on an elite team as a secondary option? Like,
put him next to fucking Jokic. I don't know. I think that's like fucking really special. And because I don't know, Bradley Beal can function so well on his own individually, regardless of the team around him. Defensively, he could be a special player once he kind of probably gets on the right team and wants to divert energy towards that. But I don't know. I'm just saying, it seems a little weird that you can't win a game when you score 40. Seems a little weird.
Yeah.
Well, you think it's all Wizards?
I think it's defense more than anything. I just think that he'll go down and he'll score. And then they come down and they score every single time. So he's like, okay, fuck, we got to score again. So he goes down and he scores again. And they come down and they hit a three. He's like,
general wisdom would say that one person can't outscore 5 people. Usually.
That's conventional wisdom. I would say Bradley Beal. I would take Bradley Beal scoring over 3 people. I think that's fine.
Yeah. Five
though it's impossible.
5, the odds just,
Should we blame it on Russell Westbrook?
Well, I think Russell's only played half the games. Wizards camp is not loving it so far. I think he's definitely looked a little
washed.
I don't know. No, not washed.
Washed.
Russell, man. At this point,
he looks like Russell at this point.
Yeah, I just kind of feel bad in a way because it's like he gives it his all, but like he has no malleability, no flexibility, no
second gear or anything. It's just that one gear.
It's just that one gear, and he knows how to play at one pace, and it's hard for a team to kind of feed off of it and function like a normal team when he does those things. Yeah. And this is the point that I wish we would touch on with Steph. This is why Steph is so special, is that he can create all of this energy and, you know, gravity, but he knows how to harness it, and he can function and help his team be better, you know? And he's done that for years now, and people don't give him credit for it because it's not something tangible that they can look at like stats wise. But it's like Steph can move off ball. He can let other people do stuff. He can bring people in and, you know, let them function. Someone like Russell, it feels like he does it and you're like, okay, oh, I'm supposed to do something now. Like, I don't know.
He's like, I'm going to do something. Just kidding. You do it. And they're like, oh shit. Okay.
I haven't touched the ball in 7 minutes.
Yeah, I'm going to shoot it. I missed it. My bad.
I don't know. It could turn around. The Bradley Beal should be better than the worst team in the East. And it's early, but like you said, they have no defense. Thomas Bryant's fine, but he's not an anchor. Okay, let me actually ask you this. Is Scott Brooks the problem? Like, what the fuck are we doing here?
Honestly, that could very well be the problem. It's just tough because, you know, Russ and him have a relationship, and now it's like you bring Russ in thinking like, okay, yeah, our starting point guard, he's an all-star caliber point guard, he's got his old coach, they're going to be good. You know, we got some value for the John Wall trade. Okay, here we go. And it's not happening. I don't know what to do, though. I don't know what their
I'm just saying there's just no reason that this team should be worse than the Knicks.
Knicks are good, bro. I'll say it again. Knicks are good.
Tom Thibodeau will fucking squeeze every little goddamn little bit out of your team and be like, you'll give me the most. And then you'll be sucked dry and you'll feel empty inside.
I just think it's so hilarious that Julius Randle and RJ Barrett lead the league in minutes per game.
when you texted me that the other night, like I was like, it wasn't in my mental calculus of like, oh, Tom Thibodeau is still a coach. And
he has a team.
If I knew that, like that was in there, that was, you know, rotting in there, I'd be like, oh, well, it's whoever's on the Knicks.
Is it Luol Deng? Is he still in the league?
Did he sign a 10-day just to play fucking 40 minutes?
Did you see that they're looking to sign Taj Gibson again?
Yeah, I've seen those rumors, and like, is he not playing? Is he not?
He's not playing right now.
Wait, because he was on the Knicks last year, right?
Mm-hmm. He was their fourth power forward.
Man, it's 2021 now, man. Like, what the fuck are we doing?
Let it go. All right. Any other points? What else you got?
The Knicks are relevant, I guess. That's interesting.
500, baby.
I don't know. I think the NBA is wacky. I love it. But my heart is sad after watching my boys put out 7 players. That's
tough.
It feels bad, man. And like, if that's what's to come, not for just my team, but for other teams, I don't feel great.
Yeah.
And I don't want to end the pod like that, but that's how I feel, JMO.
Last pod, he's like fucking beating himself off. And now this pod, he's like, I feel sad again. It's just the ups and downs of F.A. Pablo and the 76ers fandom.
Yeah, man. To think that we wouldn't be the team to get fucking ridden like this, like what world was I living in? I don't know. Some fucking.
You really thought that you were just going to be 7-1 and having a good old time, and Joel's going to be MVP. It's just like now you're going to lose 6 straight games because of COVID. So this is the bench squad, baby.
This is NBA basketball, baby.
In a pandemic, this is what we get.
Anything you got? Anything you got? Send us off.
No, I'm going to stay clear of talking about Lake Show. Just bloodbath in the West is what I'm keeping my eyes on right now. I don't even know who's good and who's not. I think everybody's good except for the Timberwolves, and that's about it, which is just insane.
You could convince me. The Thunder, weird. I don't know. I don't know anything. This is a pandemic. This is 2021. This is COVID. This is NBA basketball. And this is the Bench Squad.
Thanks for listening.